Today is Monday, April 28th. We're talking about American children being flown out of the country on deportation flights despite being U.S. citizens, and how the judge in one immigration case ended up getting arrested. Also, from flooding in the plains to a tornado threat in the Midwest. We'll tell you where severe weather is expected today. Plus, which dignitaries met on the sidelines of Pope Francis's funeral, who was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and how young music fans are affording the rising cost of concert tickets. Those stories and even more news to know next. Welcome to The Newsworthy. All the day's news in around 10 minutes. Fast, fair, fun, and on the go. I'm Erica Mandy. Thanks so much for being here. You ready? Let's do this. President Trump's immigration crackdown is facing intense new scrutiny over reports that American children are being deported, despite being U.S. citizens. Advocates have called attention to two families, including a 2-year-old, a 7-year-old, and a 4-year-old with stage 4 cancer, who was deported without medication. Lawyers say both families were taken into custody while going to their routine check-ins as part of a program that lets migrants stay here during immigration proceedings. Then they were apparently put on a flight to Honduras without getting a chance to talk to their lawyers or co-parents and without facing a judge. Top government officials are defending these deportations, saying it was never the plan to deport children who are American citizens, just their Honduran-born mothers who were here illegally. And they say the kids decided to go with their mothers, though at least one of the children's fathers disputes that. Remember, Trump's team is also fighting in the courts to end birthright citizenship altogether, which could impact millions more children. The Supreme Court is set to take up that case next month. Immigration is one of the top issues that's been putting the new Trump administration at odds with courts around the country. And the discontent reached a new level when FBI agents actually arrested a judge outside of her courthouse. They say she helped a man and his lawyer out of her courtroom through the jury door after learning that immigration authorities were after him. They eventually chased the man down anyway, and then the FBI arrested the judge for helping him evade authorities. Over the weekend, protesters chanted and marched in solidarity with the judge. They, and some Democratic lawmakers, say the arrest was not made in the name of public safety, but retribution. But the White House says it's just acting under the assumption that no one is above the law. To be continued. In a surprising shift, the White House decided against canceling thousands of student visa registrations, and officials actually restored their ability to study in the U.S. legally. But it could just be temporary. And either way, many of them have already left the country. The Justice Department explained, saying immigration officials have started work on a new system to review and terminate records of international students. And until that process is complete, student records that had been purged from a federal database are being restored along with their legal status. The Trump administration had been facing a wave of lawsuits from international students who say they were notified about losing their legal status without much explanation. Now, many of those lawsuits are being dismissed. Congress is set to return from a 2-week recess today, and the plan is for lawmakers to take up a proposed Republican budget that's being pushed by President Trump and criticized by Democrats. The New York Times reports it got a hold of a preliminary draft, and it shows this budget plan includes cuts to programs that promote education, housing assistance, childcare, health research, and more. And Dems have said there will be cuts to Medicaid, which offers health insurance to low-income families. So far, the exact proposal has not been made public, and not all Republicans are on board. But some of those who are say they believe the budget will rein in wasteful government spending and give the Trump administration resources to improve national security. The GOP's goal is to get it to the president's desk to be signed into law by Memorial Day, and they're hoping to do so without having to negotiate with Democrats. But Democrats are still pushing back. Yesterday, for more than 12 hours, Democratic leaders held a sit-in on the steps of the U.S. Capitol to protest the plan that they say will hurt everyday Americans. Stay tuned. Today, Canadians are headed to the polls. They'll decide whether Prime Minister Mark Carney can keep leading the country or if a Conservative Party leader will take over for the first time in nearly a decade. To be clear, Canadians don't vote directly for Prime Minister. Instead, they vote for the lawmakers representing individual political parties. Then, the party with the largest number of elected lawmakers forms the government, and its leader becomes Prime Minister. The issues dominating this race right now include a potential trade war with the U.S. and an affordable housing crisis. The last day of campaigning yesterday ended on a somber note, though, with the two top candidates offering their condolences in the wake of a national tragedy. A car plowed through a festival in Vancouver Saturday night, killing 11 people and hurting dozens of others. Police say they arrested the man behind the wheel and charged him with murder. They say he had mental health issues, though, and ruled out terrorism. Hundreds of people gathered for a vigil last night to pay tribute to those who died. Millions more Americans are on alert for severe weather today. Thunderstorms are expected to bring strong winds, large hail, and possible tornadoes to parts of the upper Midwest. There's a potential for severe storms all the way from Texas to the Great Lakes. But right now, it looks like Iowa, Minnesota, and Wisconsin will get the brunt of it this afternoon and evening. Then tomorrow, severe weather threats will shift, spanning from West Texas all the way up to upstate New York. All this comes after flash flooding hit the plains over the weekend. It was especially bad in Oklahoma, where at least one person died. Tornadoes were also reported in eastern New Mexico, and large hail was spotted in Texas, New Mexico, and Oklahoma. Today, the flood threats continue across parts of the plains, while in the Southwest, extreme fire conditions span from Texas to Arizona. We have more news for you still coming up, but first, thanks to our sponsor, Hiya Health. Even in the sometimes chaotic mornings we have trying to get our little kiddo out the door to preschool and us ready for work, there's part of our morning routine that always seems to feel kind of easy. And that's time for our morning vitamins. My 3-year-old is always thrilled to get his Hiya Children's vitamins and probiotic and take them every day. He loves the flavor and the routine of it. And I feel good that he's taking them since they're formulated with the help of pediatricians and nutritional experts to help support his immunity, energy, brain function, mood, his developing body, and more. And if you're tired of battling with your kids to eat their greens, Hiya now has Kids Daily Greens Plus Superfoods, a chocolate-flavored greens powder designed specifically for kids, packed with more than 55 whole food ingredients to support brain power, development, and digestion. Just scoop, shake, and sip with milk or any non-dairy beverage for a delicious and nutritious boost your kids will actually enjoy. And we've worked out a special deal with Hiya for their best-selling children's vitamin. Receive 50% off your first order. To claim this deal, you must go to hiyahealth.com/newsworthy. This deal is not available on their regular website. So go to hiyahealth.com/newsworthy and get your kids the full body nourishment they need to grow into healthy adults. Now back to the news. Hundreds of thousands of people gathered in St. Peter's Square yesterday to pay tribute to the late Pope Francis. Thousands of people also went past his tomb at St. Mary Major Basilica a few miles away. The pontiff was laid to rest one day earlier at a massive funeral that included dozens of leaders from around the world, including President Trump. While there, Trump met with Ukraine's Volodymyr Zelensky, France's Emmanuel Macron, and Britain's Keir Starmer. Others in attendance included former President Biden, Britain's Prince William, and WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange. Attention now turns to the selection of the next pope. The decision will be made through a time-honored process known as the conclave. It's expected to start early next month. Humanitarian supplies are running out in Gaza. No aid or commercial goods have been allowed to enter the territory since early March when Israel imposed its blockade. And now aid groups say they've run out of everything, from flour to fuel to tents, even containers to hold clean water. The United Nations World Food Program is among the groups that has completely run out of food. The WFP says it actually has 116,000 tons of food waiting at aid corridors, but the people who need it can't get it all with the border crossings closed. And with that, it says more than 2 million people in Gaza face an acute risk of starvation and disease. But Israel says the real problem is not the blocked borders, it's that Hamas is withholding supplies. And Israeli officials are now debating the best way to get more supplies back into the territory without strengthening the terror group. To be continued. Apple is reportedly looking to shift its operations away from China in the face of a trade war. News outlets like Bloomberg, Reuters, and the Financial Times say the tech giant is now hoping most, if not all, of its iPhones sold in the U.S. can be made in India. It's a shift that's been in the works for years now, but it's about to speed way up, since at this point, Apple sells more than 60 million iPhones to Americans every year, and roughly 80% of them are still made in China. But now the Trump administration is promising tariffs on Chinese imports of up to 145%. So moving assembly to India could save Apple some, even though India itself also faces new tariffs. Either way, experts say Apple could not shift iPhone production to the U.S. because of costs. Liverpool has been crowned English soccer's Premier League champion. It was actually the 20th championship in the history of the club, and with that, this win solidified its spot in the history books. It puts Liverpool on the same level as its rival, Manchester United, as the winningest team. And not many people expected it to happen, since the team's last successful coach left at the end of last season. And the new coach has a different philosophy. But now he's become the first Dutch coach to win the Premier League, and he did it convincingly, with 4 matches still left in the season. Now Liverpool's goal is to beat Manchester United's record by clinching a 21st title next year. It's one of the music industry's most prestigious honors, induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And this year's induction includes artists that span several genres. The class of 2025 was announced this week, including pop stars like Cyndi Lauper, hip-hop stars like Outkast, rock stars like the White Stripes, and grunge musicians like Soundgarden. There's also first-time nominees like Chubby Checker and Joe Cocker who will be inducted. Musicians become eligible for the Hall of Fame at least 25 years after the release of their first single or album. They were chosen by more than 1,200 artists, historians, music industry professionals, and fans. This year's induction ceremony is set for October. That's it for the main news, so now it's time for Money Monday, when we talk about one interesting money-related news story. But first, this episode is sponsored by Skims. My closet is quickly filling up with Skims for all my everyday essentials, including short and long-sleeve t-shirts that I reach for almost daily. My latest favorite is the Skims cotton jersey long-sleeve tee. It's a form-fitting silhouette that flatters my waist, and I can wear it on its own or use it for layering. So it's perfect for this time of year as we transition into spring. The material is super soft, it's smooth and stretchy, so it's really comfortable and it feels great on. As always, I can throw it on with joggers for a super casual look or dress it up with heels and jewelry, and I always appreciate that versatility. Skims, once again, did not disappoint. The tees live up to the hype. So shop Skims tees as well as their ultimate bra collection and more at skims.com and Skims LA flagship on Sunset Boulevard. After you place your order, be sure to let them know we sent you. You can select podcast in the survey and be sure to select our show in the drop-down menu that follows. Now back to Money Monday. Between Coachella and Stagecoach to upcoming festivals like Lollapalooza and Bonnaroo, live music fans have proven they're willing to take the financial hit to see a good show. And it really can be a pretty big hit these days since ticket prices have soared. It's a phenomenon known as Funflation, and it's hitting Gen Z music fans especially hard. Those are people born between 1997 and 2012. In a recent survey, 86% of them admitted to overspending on live events, and most of them cited fear of missing out, aka FOMO, as the top reason. Last year, the average ticket price for a live show had gone up to about $146. Compare that to 1996, when the average ticket price for a top tour was about $26. That's $52 in today's money if you adjust for inflation. Of course, festivals cost even more. A weekend at Coachella, for example, starts at around $600. So how are fans affording it? Well, many are taking advantage of payment plans. Everyone from ticket brokers to festival organizers have seen a boom in the number of buyers opting for what amounts to layaway for live music. Billboard reports more than 60% of the 80,000 people who went to Coachella this year used the festival's payment plan. Then people had to pay for everything else, like transportation, lodging, food, and merchandise. But as music fans say, you only live once. Thank you so much for joining us today. We'll be back with even more news to know tomorrow. For now, have a great day.